Welcome to Sleeping with History. Tonight, you'll travel back almost 2,000 years to the height of the Roman Empire, when marble gleamed beneath the Mediterranean sun, and the people of the world's greatest city gathered to witness power, faith, and spectacle. Settle in, breathe slowly, and let the centuries open around you. This is a day at the Colosseum. You awake to the sound of water. Somewhere outside your window, a fountain trickles into the stone basin. The air is cool, carrying the smell of bread from the bakery below. The first light of dawn glows faintly against the clay rooftops, soft and golden. Rome is stirring. You rise and push open the shutters. The streets below are still quiet. A few figures move in the half-light. A baker sweeping his doorstep, a young slave carrying jugs of water, a stray dog padding across the stones. But even in the calm, there's something in the air, a hum, a sense of expectation. Word has spread through the city. Today, there will be games in the Colosseum, and the emperor himself will attend. You wash in cool water, put on your tunic, and step into the street. The smell of smoke, wine, and oil drifts through the narrow lanes. Vendors are already setting up their stalls, baskets of figs, olives, and bread displayed beneath woven canopies. A baker pulls loaves from the oven, the crust cracking in the morning air. You walk toward the forum, joining others moving in the same direction. Everyone is talking about the games. An old man selling garlands calls out, 100 days of celebration when Titus opened the great amphitheater. Imagine what we'll see today. A soldier nearby laughs. They say they'll bring lions from Africa and men brave enough to face them. You've heard the stories. The Colosseum, the Flavian amphitheater, was built by Emperor Vespasian, finished by his son, Titus. It rose where Nero's private lake once glistened, reclaimed for the people. The spoils of war paid for its stone. Golden treasure taken from the great temple in Jerusalem. Tens of thousands of captives carved and hauled the blocks that became its walls. Now it stands complete, a gift from emperor to empire. You turn a corner, and there it is. The Colosseum rises into the morning sky, vast and pale, catching the light like a mountain of marble. Arches upon arches curved upward, banners fluttering from parapets. It feels alive, humming with the sound of a city gathered to witness itself. The crowd thickens as you approach. Rich and poor move side by side. Senators in the white togas, merchants in dyed robes, soldiers, slaves, beggars. The air buzzes with voices, and the scent of incense is sweat. You hand your small clay token to the guard at the gate and step through the dark archway into the cool shadow of the corridor. The sound of the crowd deepens around you. A living pulse echoes through the stone. And then you step into the light. The sight takes your breath. 50,000 people fill the seats, the tiers rising high above the arena floor. Sunlight pours through the open sky, glinting off polished armor and gold jewelry. The sand below glows pale and clean. The smell of oil and perfume mixes with dust and heat. You find your place among the lower seats. Merchants, artisans, the steady heart of the city. Above you, senators recline in shaded boxes. Higher still, the common folk fill the upper rows, even at the very top, where wooden benches creak under the pour. Trumpets sound, the people rise. The emperor enters, Titus himself, crowned with laurel leaves, wrapped in purple. He raises his arm, and the roar of the crowd rolls like the thunder through the amphitheater. Another trumpet call, then silence. The games begin. A gate opens at the far end. A lion steps into the light, mane shining gold, muscles rippling. From another gate, a man appears, a hunter, armed with spear and net. For a moment, the two stand motionless. Then the lion charges. The spear flashes. The crowd gasps, shouting, cheers. Dust rises glowing in the sun. The first battle of the day has begun. Hours pass, the hunts continue. tigers from India, bears from the mountains of Thrace, elephants painted with bright colors. The crowd cheers as each beast falls or escapes. Men are called to fight them with spears, swords, and courage sharpened by desperation. Sometimes a man wins, sometimes the animal does. Either way, the crowd roars its approval. The sand grows dark with prints and blood. Slaves hurry out to rake it smooth again. Vendors move through the aisles selling bread, wine, and fruit. The smell of roasted meat drifts upward. You drink from a clay cup, the taste of metal and honeyed wine on your tongue. The heat presses down, heavy and shimmering. Then, the trumpets sound again, a call for intermission. The crowd stands, stretches, talks, and laughs. The people of Rome share food, gossip, and pride. Some leave the seats to wander outside. You follow them. The streets around the Colosseum are alive. Musicians play. Vendors shout. Smoke rises from food stalls where sausages sizzle and bread warms on griddles. Children chase each other between columns. You stop at a stall, selling cold water mixed with mint. The merchant smiles. "A fine day, isn't it? The emperor honors us with games worthy of the gods." You nod, looking back toward the massive stone arches. For the Romans, the games are more than a spectacle. They are the heartbeat of the empire, proof that Rome rules not just through war, but through control, mastery, and show. Every beast slain, every gladiator's salute, every victory in the arena is a reminder Rome commands the world. You finish your drink and return through the gates. The afternoon has just begun. The trumpets sound again, deeper now, calling for the grand parade. Hundreds enter the arena in formation, priests carrying incense, soldiers in shining armor, actors dressed as gods. Behind them march prisoners in chains, playing the conquered, their heads bowed. It's a living play. Rome retelling her victories before her own people. At the center of it all stands a figure dressed as Mars, the god of war. His armor painted crimson and gold. He raises a spear to the sky and the crowd answers with a cheer that shakes the very stone of the Colosseum. The horns sound once more. The parade gives way to the recreation of Rome's battles. Armies pour into the arena, one dressed as legionaries, the other as foreign tribes. Wooden towers roll forward, painting backdrops rise, turning the sand into the fields and fortresses. The clash begins, shields locking, swords flashing, dust clouding the air. The crowd leans forward, swept up in illusion. Even though the outcome is known, they watch as if history itself were unfolding again. Rome always wins. The defeated fall to their knees before the emperor's box. Titus rises and gestures for mercy. The crowd wildly cheers. Mercy is another face of power. Then come the gladiators. The horn sounds 3 times. From opposite gates, pairs of men step forward, with heavy shields and helmets, nets, tridents, and curved swords. They salute the emperor. They salute the crowd. They salute death itself. Then the fight begins. They press forward behind the shields, swords flashing. The Rosarius darts away, tossing his net, thrusting with the trident. The sound of steel on bronze rings through the arena. The crowd gasps. Then cheers as the Murmillo stumbles but recovers, striking again. Around them, other pairs fight. Fast, brutal, beautiful. Every moment is trained, practiced, and deadly. The crowd watches with awe, seeing not men, but symbols of Roman virtue, courage, discipline, and endurance. When gladiators fall, all eyes turn to the emperor. The crowd watches his hand. A thumb up means mercy, a thumb down means death. Sometimes mercy wins, sometimes it doesn't. The cheers rise again, rolling through the amphitheater. You see a young fighter spared after a long struggle. The veteran who defeated him bows his head, offering respect. For a brief moment, the crowd quiets, not out of pity, but admiration. Even in the heart of blood and dust, honor still breathes. The duels continue until the air grows thick with heat and exhaustion. Then, with a final trumpet call, The crowd stirs again. A new spectacle is announced, one that few have seen but all have heard of. The Naumachia, a sea battle. The announcer's voice rings out. Behold, the might of the Rome upon the waters. Across the arena floor, props and painted ships appear, gliding as if on waves. Actors dressed as sailors climb ropes and shout orders. Trumpets blare, drums pound, and the illusion of the sea fills the air. The ship meets in the center, wooden swords clash, shields splinter, smoke rises as small fires burn along the decks. The audience roars with delight. You imagine what it must have been like during the first grand festival, when the Emperor Titus filled the arena with water and real ships fought real battles before tens of thousands of eyes. The sun flashing on oars, the spray of water, the cries of men, Rome proving that not even nature could defy its will. As the final ship burns and collapses, the trumpets sound again. The crowds rise, clapping, shouting, stamping their feet. The Emperor stands and the applause swells until the sound seems to fill the sky itself. Smoke drifts upwards, curling into the light. You sit back, eyes half closed, letting the noise fade into a soft hum. The day has been long, full of life, death, spectacle, and pride. For a moment, everything feels still. The sun lowers behind the walls, the light turns red, then gold. The games are over. The crowd begins to leave, their footsteps echoing under the arches. The seats empty. The arena floor lies quiet again, marked by footprints and stains, the memory of what has passed. You stay for a while, watching the last of the sunlight fade. The marbles glow in the warm tones. The arches cast long shadows. When you finally rise, the corridors are dim, lit by torches. You follow the others out into the cool air of the evening. The city hums again, softer now. You can smell bread, smoke, and wine. Musicians play in distant courtyards. People gather to eat and talk. You cross the Forum, the great temples glowing in the dusk. You look back once more at the Colosseum. Against the sky, it looks both eternal and fragile. A monument built by hands long gone, still holding its place in the heart of the city. Centuries pass, the crowds fall silent, the games end, the Colosseum stands empty. Rain falls through the open roof, weeds grow where blood once stained the sand. Stones crack, time works slowly, but it never stops. Rome itself begins to change. Emperors fade, armies retreat. The empire breaks into fragments. The people still live, but the world around them grows smaller. The amphitheater endures, a ghost of glory standing against the sky. Earthquakes shake, fires scar it, thieves strip its marble to build palaces and churches, yet still it stands, as it refuses to vanish. Centuries later, monks build shrines within its arches. Pilgrims come to pray where the gladiators once fell. They call it sacred ground, believing the blood spilled here made it holy. Candles burn where torches once roared. Prayers rise where crowds once shouted. Time transforms everything. Poets come to stand among the ruins. They write of silence and shadow, of beauty and decay. They say that as long as the Colosseum stands, Rome will stand, and when Rome falls, the world will follow. You walk there now in the present. The arches still rise through the broken. The stone is rough, pitted with age. Grass grows through cracks. Sunlight glints off metal rails, and the footsteps of visitors echo softly in the halls. The floor is gone, exposing the tunnels below. Dark chambers where beasts once waited and men prepared for death. You walk through them, your hand brushing the old walls, cold and smooth. You climb to the upper tier. The view opens before you. The same sky, the same circle of stone. The noise of the city hums faintly in the distance. You sit for a moment and listen. Even now the air carries an echo. You almost hear the roar of the crowd, the clash of the metal, the distant trumpet call. It's all still here, just folded into the stone. The Colosseum no longer belongs to the emperors or gladiators. It belongs to a distant memory. Rome built it to show the strength of the empire. Time turned into a monument to endure. Every stone that remains carries both truths. power and fragility, glory and decay. You look up through the arches to see the stars above, the same stars that once shone on the empire at its height, and you understand why the Romans built so boldly. They wanted to be remembered. In that, they succeeded. You return to the Colosseum one last time at night. The streets are quiet, the air is cool. Golden lights wash over the old stone, and the arches glow softly against the dark. You stand beneath them, feeling the size of it all, the weight of history, the silence that was once thunder. You touch the wall. The stone is smooth and cold. It hums faintly with memories of centuries before. You close your eyes. You see the arena as it was. The sand clean and golden. The emperor in his box. The crowd rising. The trumpets playing. The gates opening. Then you see it fade. The lights dimming. The cheers falling away. The dust settling once more. The Colosseum stands still. But the city around it moves on. And yet in its silence, there is peace. You take one last look. The arches frame the night sky like open hands. The stars glimmer faintly above, quiet witnesses to all that has passed. The Colosseum sleeps, and so does history. You have just lived a day in ancient Rome. You have seen its splendor, its power, and its fall. You have stood among its people, felt its pride, and watched its story fade into silence. This was Sleeping with History, a day at the Colosseum. Until our next journey, rest well, and let the past keep watch while you sleep.